old cliche of the kid comes home from school and the parents say, "What did you learn today?" And the kid's just like, "I don't know, something," and then runs off and does whatever they want to do. Instead of, okay, no, the reason we're asking is because then we can try to provide the context that they don't have time for in school, or having people. I also was very privileged in my growing up time that my parents' friends were also kind of my friends. So I was having conversation with 40 and 50-year-olds as like a 10-year-old, and learning context and learning history, and having them tell me about their lives. So I was getting a lot of that context outside of the school experience. And unfortunately, just because of capitalism, kids don't always have access to that. And so they're left with just what school teaches them, which again is important. I'm joining with you in saying that I'm not dogging on teachers. They're doing the best they can with what they're given and what the time that they're given. But there does need to be a community element in education that helps kids see that other side of it, the why to the math, the how to the music, those kinds of things, where you can't just take science at its you can't take it as at face value. Otherwise, that's where you got into situations in the last 100 years where people were experimenting on other people without their knowledge, because they were just seeing it for the science without seeing it for the humanity behind the science or the purpose for it. And that's where community comes in handy.
Yeah, exactly like you say. Or like the history behind it, the justifications. And I do think I've said on many an episode of this podcast that there is a key need to teach philosophy in schools, because we keep saying we want kids to think critically. We want them to be really understanding, thoughtful individuals. You cannot do that without, in my view, and I'm a prime example of, up till my PhD, if you asked me from a philosophical point of view what this was, I would not necessarily have had a clue, because the education system is very much your career focused all the way through, and it's just about your career. And even when we both of us talk on social media about various different things, and you have people who say, "Oh, how is that going to help in the job? Get a job," this type of thing. And you think to yourself, not everything is purely about the amount of money that you get in your pocket.